So this one is psychologically disturbing and pretty fucked up, so be warned, let's do it. We need to talk about Kevin opens up by introducing us to our main character, Eva. We see that Eva lives in this kind of rundown house by herself, and everybody in her neighborhood and around her is really hostile towards her. She has paint thrown at her house and her car all the time. A woman comes up to her and straight up slaps her in the face on the street. She's harassed in the supermarket. We learn that she regularly goes to visit her son Kevin in prison. So this movie is told in a non-linear fashion because it jumps between present times of Eva living by herself and flashbacks of her with her family, specifically raising Kevin and how everything came to be and what he did. So we get 4 stages of Kevin: baby Kevin, toddler Kevin, school-aged Kevin, and teenage Kevin. Through flashbacks, we saw how Eva met her husband Franklin, and the two of them had a baby boy named Kevin. You can kind of tell immediately that Eva and Kevin didn't really bond. She used to live a really spontaneous, fun life, and she gave that up to have a baby, and she's kind of resentful for it. When Kevin's a baby, it seems he only cries when she's around. He's totally fine with Franklin. As he gets older, he refuses to speak or learn to be potty trained. He purposely destroys Eva's things that she cares about and just seems to antagonize her constantly. But when Franklin is around, Kevin is totally fine, so he thinks that Eva is exaggerating. One day when Kevin is school age, he's still wearing diapers, and Eva changes his diaper, and then he purposely defecates to make her change it again. He's just constantly provoking her like this, and out of frustration, she throws him and breaks his arm by accident. When Franklin asks what happened, Kevin covers for Eva and says that he fell, which of course he's doing as a way to manipulate her. So we see that this kid has some psychopathic tendencies from an early age. Franklin again never sees any of Kevin's negative behavior, and one day when he's a kid, he gifts him this toy bow and arrow. Now, back in present times, Eva is still struggling. Her coworkers are super fucking rude to her. And we've kind of gathered that Kevin's crime was a school shooting because she's being approached by certain students and certain parents of students who died. So as the movie goes on, we're kind of putting the pieces together. Through flashbacks, we see that Eva got pregnant again, and this time she had a daughter named Celia. And Kevin is just automatically fucking awful and hostile to her. One day we see that Kevin puts Celia's pet guinea pig in the garbage disposal and fucking kills it. And one day when Kevin is supposed to be babysitting Celia, she has an incident with this drain cleaner chemical and she loses her eye permanently. So Eva starts to think that Kevin hurt his sister on purpose, and we can tell that he is getting increasingly more disturbed. This part's fucked up. There's one day that Eva walks in on Kevin jerking it, and instead of stopping like a normal teenager would, he deadass just makes eye contact with her and continues. Through these years, Eva continuously tries to tell Franklin there is something wrong with Kevin, he is not well. But Franklin keeps brushing it off, keeps thinking that she's just being dramatic. And eventually, because of it, the two of them decide to get divorced. And Kevin overhears this conversation while they're talking about it. One day we see that Kevin gets some packages delivered to the house, and it's a bunch of bicycle locks, more than one person would ever need. And when Franklin asks him about it, he's like, oh, I'm just flipping them and selling them for profit at school. And Franklin's like, oh, my little entrepreneur. Franklin, please. The red flags are flagging. At this point, we've also learned that Kevin has taken his archery hobby that he developed as a kid and has become really fucking good at it. And Franklin gifted him this really fancy crossbow for Christmas. So a few days before his 16th birthday, it's the morning and Kevin is getting ready to go to school. Again, at this point, we can just tell he's incredibly disturbed. He's in his room just trying to work himself up. Eva notices something wrong with him and is like, you look a little clammy, are you okay? He says he's fine and she leaves to go to work. We see Kevin go to school and lock all the gymnasium doors with the bike locks. And Eva gets a call at work telling her that there is an active shooter at her son's school. She gets there and it's absolute chaos, and we see kids being wheeled out on stretchers with arrows in them. And sure enough, Eva watches as her son comes out with his hands up, revealing that he is the one that did all of this. During this flashback, we also see parents outside of the school crying over their dead children, and some of those parents are the people that have been harassing Eva in present time, so now we understand why. We never learn how many people Kevin killed, but we see multiple bodies being taken away as he's put in the police car. Eva this whole time has been trying to contact Franklin and he's not answering. And she gets home and discovers that he's not answering because Kevin has also killed him and Celia. And they're dead in the backyard with arrows in them as well. Back in present times, we see that Eva once again goes to visit Kevin in prison. It's the 2nd anniversary of the massacre, which also means that it's about to be Kevin's 18th birthday. So he's going to a real prison because right now he's in a juvenile facility. And while this whole time he has been almost calm and cool and collected, he now seems really different. He's scared. And it's because he's nervous about going to this adult prison. Eva looks at him and finally asks him, I need to know why. And Kevin just looks at her, scared, and says, I used to think I knew, but I'm not sure anymore. Eva hugs him, and for the first time, he truly embraces his mother like he loves her, and she leaves, and the movie ends.